The session on calculation of earthwork in excavation for the residential building shown in the plan here. So we have plan details and section details given. We have already done the calculations for this area. We have divided into 4 areas. Area number 1 includes drawing room, bedroom number 1, and area 2 includes bedroom number 2 and bedroom number 3. And area 3 includes front veranda, and area 4 includes front veranda as well as the bath area. So we have already done the calculations for this area and this area. Now the remaining is this portion, front veranda and back veranda. First earthwork, first quantity of estimation is earthwork in excavation, which we have done already for 2 areas. Let's continue for the next area. The header of the table remains same. So of course it is under item number serial number 1 or item number 1 because we are still doing the calculations for earthwork in excavation. Under that we are doing for front veranda. Long walls. Let me go back here and check what is the long wall. So if I come over here in the plan and look at the front veranda, I have areas of front veranda which has 2 walls basically, because when we consider the second area, this area, I mean the first area and the second area, we've already done the excavation, so I don't have to consider this wall again, and I don't have to consider this wall again, because this wall and this wall is already considered under the calculation for drawing room and bedrooms. But the only remaining wall is this partition wall of 20 centimeter thick, which I have considered as long wall, and this partition wall of 20 centimeter thick, which I have considered as short wall, which I've already calculated the center to center distances. So what next is to just calculate the numbers. So when I do the calculation for numbers, I mean when I make the count for numbers, I just have one in the front veranda. I just have one 20 centimeter thick wall that is also a long wall. So let us do the calculations. The numbers is 1 and the length is 9 points. Let's see how it is done now. When I consider this short wall, I mean 20 centimeter thick wall, this is the section for 20 centimeter thick wall, or at section AA, right? This is the section shown in the figure for this particular wall. What is the difference between this wall and this wall is, I'm going to just draw a line over here, a reference line, so that we can understand at what level the foundations are resting. You can observe the roof levels are same. Roof level has to be same. Of course, the roof levels are same. You can observe the roof levels are same. The plinth level is also same. I'm going to just draw a reference line so that we can understand it better. This is the plinth level. The roof level is same. The plinth level is same. But when we consider the bottom of the foundation for the main wall, it is at this level, but the foundation for partition wall is at this level. There is level difference. Yes, there is level difference. Now, how to do the calculations when we have the level difference? It is not always that by the crude method or the thumb rule, as I have told earlier, to go on with the length calculation. Center to center distance plus for the long wall calculation, center to center distance plus width of the item will give us the total's length, but only in specific cases. It is not in general. In general, it cannot be applicable. Why it is happening is because we are basically doing the deductions for the things which is already being constructed. Let me just draw this rectangle over here and assume that it is being constructed already. Let us say that this is already constructed and I'm going to take offset. So let's say this is the excavation which is already done. Now if I have to do the excavation for this particular wall, the long wall, the center to center distance is from here, center of the wall, to the center of the wall I've calculated. If I have to make the excavation, let's say this is the excavation which I have to make now, and the one indicated in red color is the one highlighted in red color is already done area, and the one indicated in yellow color is the one which we have to do now. This portion is already done. Say I start excavation from this end, I keep on excavating till here. I've clearly done the excavation for the area indicated under red color. Now I have to start the excavation for yellow color. I cannot do the same excavation which is already done here. Right? I need to avoid this area, which I'm going to mark, which I'm going to cross mark it. This area I have to deduct because it is already done, right? Similarly, when I come to this and there is no excavation done, this is the first time I'm doing it, excavation here, then no problem. But only here I have to do the deduction. But that too, the deduction cannot happen for the same width which is already done. Why? Because overlapping. Why are we doing the deductions in the long wall, short wall, or any center line is because they are overlapping. Basically, they are overlapping. To understand it better, I have this here. I'll just explain it. Let us assume this level is, this is the first layer of PCC. Okay, this is the first layer of PCC, which is this level. This is the PCC. Just trying to showcase that in isometric view. So this is the PCC which is already there, above which I'll have first layer, above which I'll have second layer, and finally the plinth, right? And of course, last comes the superstructure main wall. Now, let me highlight it with some color. Give me a moment. Yeah. Now let me highlight this with red color. Now this is this. Let us assume this as the PCC level over which I need to draw or lay the first foundation level. Okay, let me use that color. So this is next level. That is the first footing level. So let me try and if it is possible, I'll do it. Yeah. Now, as you can see, there is, yes, there is a difference. This is, let's say this is at this level. This is ground level. We always take the reference as ground level. Ground level, let us assume the RL is 0. It is 0 level. And below which we have excavated up to a depth of 1 meter, because we have already done the calculations for earthwork in excavation. 0.3 plus 0.2 plus 0.2 plus 0.3 will give us total depth of 1 meter. So if I have to reach this level, I have to excavate up to a depth of 1 meter from the natural ground level. For main wall, when I consider when I consider the same thing for partition wall, I don't have to do the excavation up to 1 meter. We can clearly see the depth is mentioned here. 0.2 meter is the depth of the lime concrete, and 0.2 meter is the depth of first footing, and there is no second footing, directly plinth. So 0.1 meter plinth below the ground level and 0.6 meter above the ground level. So below the ground level, the total depth is just 0.2 plus 0.2 plus 0.1, which will be 0.5 meters, right? So what I have to do is I have to do the calculations from the ground level, natural ground level. I have to calculate and see at what depth the 0.5 meter is available here in the first footing. Why I am doing that is, let us say this is the footing of the this is the PCC and this is the first layer of footing of the main wall. Now of this wall, now I need to construct this particular wall as shown here. This is the wall which I have already constructed, or this is the area which I have excavated. Now I need to do the excavation for this one. Let me go back here and draw this. Just a moment, so that we can indicate it in different color. Yeah, let's just cut it over here. Yeah. Now let me highlight it with some other color. I'll take green. As you can observe, this green color is the footing of this particular wall. Red color and yellow color indicates the footing, PCC and footing of the main wall, which is in this direction. Now, if you can clearly observe, this green color wall comes and sits or overlap, it is clearly overlapping the yellow color area. It is not overlapping the red color area, right? So wherever there is overlap, we need to do the deduction. Here also, let me come back here. There is overlap area. This much is overlap area, and I need to do the deduction. But do observe, it is not overlapping. It is this portion. It is not overlapping this portion. Let me just copy paste it as well here in the section also, so that we can understand it better. Let me erase these things. So that, when we overlap the things, it will be easy for us to understand. Wherever there is overlap, I just have to replace those things only. So let me do the overlap of this wall. Do observe this carefully. Now if I just try to move this, overlap is happening on the first footing, right? This is the first footing. Of course, this is the PCC and this is the first footing. This is PCC, this is first footing, second footing, and plinth of main wall. Now I am moving with ortho on. You can observe I'm moving it in ortho on. That means it moves only in horizontal perpendicular directions only. So if I just place it over here, it is overlapping the area of first footing, which is also shown here. So this footing or excavation or lime concrete is going to overlap the first footing but not the lime concrete. So what is the width of first footing? The width of first footing is given as 0.6 meters. So that is why in the calculation of length, what I have done is 9.6 meters. Hold on. 9.6 meter is the center to center distance, and the concept which I explained here is for laying the lime concrete. But when we look at the plan view, let me go back to the plan view. This is the center to center distance. The center line starts from here. I'm going to mark from here. Center line starts from here and ends at this particular point. Let me highlight it with some other color, green color. Yeah. So this is the center to center distance, and I need to make the excavation for long wall of front veranda. This 0.9 meter width. This is 0.9 meter. Yeah. This is 0.9 meter width excavation which is already made. This 0.9 meter width of excavation which I've already done, I'm going to avoid it because it is overlapping. So how to do that calculation is 9.65 is the center to center distance between the walls. This is the center to center distance which is highlighted in green color now, center to center distance. minus, why I am deducting is because this portion is already been excavated, minus this portion. What is this portion? So from here to here, that is the center line to the edge. So what is the total width of this? This total width is 0.9 meter, I know, which is already been excavated now. So 0.9 meter divided by 2. Why divided by 2? Because the center line calculation I have done from here. The center line calculation I have done from here. So I don't. So if I start excavating from the center line exactly, I may overlap this area. So I need to do the deduction. So how much should be deducted? So width, exactly the width divided by width of the item of main wall. Width of the item of main wall is 0.9 meter divided by 2. That is done at one end. When I go to the other end, this is the center line distance, but I need to do the excavation till here. So what is this width? This width is equal to, this remaining width is equal to the width of the item which we are considering, width of the partition wall excavation. So width of the partition wall excavation is of course 0.6 meter. Because I have already reached the center line, I don't have to consider the whole width, it is just divided by 2. So 9.65 is the center to center distance. Deduct the width of the item of main wall at one side divided by 2 of course, and add the width of the item divided by 2 because it is long wall. So by doing that we will be getting what is the what is the total length. Once we get the total length, the width is going to remain same. The width of the excavation which has to be made for partition wall. The width of excavation is 0.6 meters and depth of excavation which we have already calculated 0.2, 0.2 and 0.1 put together we will get 0.5 meters. So the total quantity is the product of these things which is equal to 2.85 meter cube. Similarly, if I have to do the calculation for short wall, of course there are only one number of short wall. When I come over to the plan, we consider the plan, we have just, here is this, we just have one short wall here, one indicated in the dotted line showcases the short walls. So we have one short wall, so that is why I have indicated number as 1. So the length, center to center distance, which is already calculated as 2.25 meters. 2.25 meter is the total length which is already being calculated. Next, now I need to do the deductions. Why I have to do the deductions? Let's say, let me draw this rectangle, offset. I'm going to indicate this in yellow color and this one in some other color. Now I have done the excavation for one indicated in yellow color as well as red color. Now when you look at this partition wall, the center to center distance starts from this end and ends at this end. But I don't have to make the complete excavation, I just have to do the excavation for this portion only. This portion only, which is indicated in green color now. Now, if I calculate the length, this is the total length. Center to center distance is 2.25 meters. 2.25 multiplied by width multiplied by depth. If I do that, I'll be calculating the total area for this, total quantity for this area, which is just indicated in white color now, which is being highlighted now. But that is going to be a wrong value because this portion is already being excavated. As you can observe, this portion under the red is already excavated and this portion under yellow is also already excavated. So I need to do the deduction for this area here and this area here. How to do that? I'm only deducting the length. I just need length from this end to this end. How to calculate length from this end to this end? Let us see. So this length, total length is 2.25 meters. I know it. Now the distance from here to here I know. The total width is how much? 0.9 meter, because I've done the excavation for main wall as 0.9 meters. So this length is half of 0.9 meters. So 2.25 minus 0.9. I'm deducting this length minus 0.9 by 2, which is 0.45 meters. Similarly, at the other end also, I have already done the excavation. I just need the distance from this point to this point. I'm going to draw it here. I want length calculation for only this one, but I already have the length calculation for this one. How to do the deduction? Just deduct this portion, deduct this portion. Anything above this line you deduct it, anything below this line you deduct it. Between these two lines you have to get the actual length. So how to get that? So one end it is 0.9 by 2, which I have already done, but the other end footing excavation I have made it only to 0.6 meters. So that means this width is 0.6 meter and half of this width is equal to 0.6 divided by 2. That is why we have deducted 0.9 at one end and 0.6 at other end. I mean half of the total widths. So which we will be getting it as 1.5 meters. Once we get the total length, so input the same value under total length, and of course the width of excavation remains same for partition wall. So width of excavation is 0.6 meters and height or depth of excavation is same as long wall 0.5 meter, and the total quantity is product of these things, which is 0.45 meters. And of course this is also not the end of the calculations for earthwork in excavation, because we have one more area left out, which is back veranda. Under back veranda, let me go to back veranda here. Here we have, before we go there, let me erase these things. We have one long wall. So let me consider under long walls one number, and the length which we have already calculated, center to center distance between the main wall over here, the partition wall over here. We have already done the calculation. Now, if I have to do the excavation, earthwork in excavation, this area is already done. This area is already done. The width of this is 0.9 meters. This area is also done. The width of this is 0.9 meters. And I have not done any other excavations. So I have to do the excavation for this portion now. This portion, of course, is 0.6 meters. So I need to do the excavation for this portion, which is indicated in yellow color. This portion is already done. This portion is already done. Now, as simple as that, I just need to do the calculation or the length calculation. How to do that? I'm just going to redraw the same thing over here. From here to here, I have the centerline distance, right? I don't want this portion. Why I don't want this portion? Because I've already done the excavation. I need to do the deduction. What is the total width? The total width is 0.9. This is exactly half of this total width. So I know this total length, 9.65 meters. 9. Here also I've indicated it as 9.6 meters. Let me make it as 9.65. Yeah. 9.65 meter is the center to center distance between the walls. This total length is from this end to this end is 9.65 meters, but I don't want the total length, because as you can observe, I'm just drawing the line from the face of the excavation which is already made till the end point. I want the excavation to start from this particular point, not from this particular point, right? So this portion is already done. Whatever which is indicated here, which I'm highlighting, is already done. I need to deduct this length. What is this length? Which is 9.65 minus of half of this total width, 0.9 divided by 0.9 divided by 2. Now, when I move to the other end, I have done the calculation only till here, but I want the excavation to be done till the end of the line. End of the line end of the excavation line is over here. So what is this width? So half of this width again. So half of this width means half of this width. I'm going to do the excavation of 0.6 meter over here. So half of this width is for this wall also I'm going to construct 0.6 meter. This is again partition wall. This is not the main wall. Main wall ends exactly over here. This is the partition wall, and excavation of partition wall is going to be 0.6 meter only. The width of excavation is going to be 0.6 meter only. At one end I have 0.9 meter, at other end I have 0.6 meter of excavation. So if you have to understand it very easily, what you do is, if you have main wall in the calculations, if you want to do the deductions for long wall calculations, which has already been done, consider the center to center distance and deduct half width of the main wall width of excavation, and also add the other end if the excavation is not done already or the calculations is not done. So add the width divided by 2 at the other end of the partition wall. So which is of course same as the long wall of the front veranda, 9.5 meter. And width of excavation and depth of excavation is not going to change. The section is being same. Thing is going to change. The width was taken as 0.6 meters. If we go back here also, we can clearly see the width is 0.6 meters, and of course the height or depth is 0.5 meters, and the total quantity is the product of these things, 2.85 meters. Moving on to the short walls. Short wall calculation is also as same as the one which we have done in the previous case for the short wall of front veranda. Let me just take this as red color. Width of this red color area indicates 0.9 meter, and the width of this area indicates, indicated in yellow color represents 0.6 meter. But I have the center to center distance something like this. So I'm going to copy the same center line over here. I don't want the center line distance, I want the clear distance. Clear distance is from face of this excavation to the face of this excavation. So let me move it aside here, right next to it. So this width, as you can see, it is exactly half of this total width. The total width is 0.6 minus of 0.3 here, which is 0.6 divided by 2. Similarly over here, this is the total width is 0.9 and half of which is 0.9 divided by 2. So the total center line minus 0.6 by 2 minus 0.9 by 2, we will get the clear distance, and clear distance is, of course there are two numbers of short walls, numbers which we have to indicate. This is short wall number 1, this is short wall number 2. We have two numbers of short walls, which is considered two numbers. And length calculation, as I told you, 2.75 is the center to center distance between the walls, minus of 0.9 by 2 for the main wall. This is the main wall, excavation for main wall, and minus 0.6 by 2 excavation for the partition wall. The total value we get is, the total value of length we get it is 2 meters. So of course, once we get the length value, the remaining values remain same, the width and the height. The width is 0.6 meter and height of excavation or depth of excavation is 0.5 meter. The total quantity is 1.2 meter, the product of these things. Now, after the calculation of earthwork in excavation for all the four areas, that is, let me say the area under area 1 which considers drawing room and bedroom number 1, area 2 considers bedroom number 2 and bedroom number 3, and front veranda and back veranda inclusive of bathroom. So now I have to do the total calculation. Total calculation means the total calculation is starting from here. So earthwork in excavation I have done for front area. So 20.70 plus 11.88 plus 17.28 plus 7.02 plus 2.85 plus 0.45 plus 2.85 and plus 1.2. The total value I get it as 64.23 meter cube. So what does that indicate is, if I have to do the excavation, if I have to build this particular building as shown in the plan and as shown the details shown in the section, In order to construct the wall and in order to lay the PCC and foundations, I have to start excavating all around, and I have to excavate a total quantity of 64.23 meter cube of soil. 64.23 meter cube of soil has to be excavated. So this is how we do the calculations for earthwork in excavation. So this is, of course, it's a tedious process because we are doing long wall and short wall method. Every item I have to, I mean, every area I have to consider separately. This area I've considered separately, this area I've considered separately, this area separately, and this area separately. This is not going to happen in centerline method, which is the other method which we have not started yet. Once we start with the centerline method, we can do it easily. Centerline method gives us flexibility that if I just calculate the centerline length of whole building, I'm not going to calculate the centerline length of one single wall. Rather, I'm going to calculate the centerline length of the whole building. When I do that, just multiply with the when I have the length, just multiply that with the width of the item and height of the as shown here. I'll have one number and total centerline length will be indicated. The centerline length of back veranda, front veranda, drawing room, bedroom 1, 2, 3, everything will be considered in one length, multiplied by the width. Width, of course, if you have two walls separately for partition wall and separately for the main wall, so we'll have two values, one for the main wall, the other wall for the partition wall. The total centerline length multiplied by the total width of 0.9 meter or 0.6 meter depending upon the wall which we are considering, and of course the height or depth of the wall which we are considering, and total quantity. In one shot we can get it. Of course there will be some calculations which we have to make for the deductions of the junctions, which we'll look into it in detail once we start with the centerline length method. But now this is the end of calculation for earthwork in excavation. Whatever we have done, let me go back here. So we have done for drawing room and left hand side bedroom. We have done for right hand side bedrooms, and we have done for front veranda, and we have done for back veranda. The same thing has to be done for lime concrete in foundation, first class brickwork in cement mortar, DPC, and first class brickwork in superstructure. So you can think of the tedious process or the amount of calculations which is involved in long wall and short wall method. But in centerline method, you can just do it in one single page itself. Here I have shown in 4 different pages or 4 different slides, but here we can do in centerline method in just one single sheet itself, which of course will be taking up in the later stages. Now, yeah, we'll continue the calculations for lime concrete in the further session.